take small positions. It's okay to like make small gains and then add to those gains. That's kind of how I did it.
Welcome everybody to another funded trader of Trade a Pool. Today, Dan with me. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. It's kind of early, I know, on your location. Mine is like midday, basically. So yeah, interesting. Always looking to see the differences. You know, you start your day very early in the morning, right? And
Yeah.
I had maybe one or twice that I traded in the morning. In most cases, just afternoon for me. So it's interesting to see the balance or the differences. But anyway, we came to talk about your funded and evaluation account. Basically, you passed the challenge. How long did it take you to pass it?
I think it was it 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
It was my second one, I believe. So I think it was.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah, roughly 3 weeks. That's pretty impressive. The second attempt.
Mm-hmm.
And you traded the mini BP. We will see the chart in a second. The mini BP, for those of you not familiar with, it's basically means that you can trade $20,000 buying power. It's past the PDT rule, so you can day trade within that 20,000 as well. And yeah, let's talk a little bit about your trading. Try to give as many advices as you can for the guys that watching it right now. I know a lot of the guys just looking for more confirmation and also just idea what it means to go through that process of evaluation.
Sure. So, I mean, I've been trading now for quite a number of years. I kind of took it seriously and took it full time the last 3 years.
Nice.
I live in California, so the process for me is I get up around 5 a.m. Markets open here at 6:30, so I spend a good hour and a half just browsing the pre-market. My strategy is usually just looking at those breakouts, the ones that pop off early. So I'm kind of looking for all the scanners, like all the breakouts and top percentage gainers. I'm also looking for volume. You want to have volume to trade. Normally, I am trying to get into the trade within the first hour.
Okay.
After the markets open. I like to go in off of break of new high of days. That has been specifically one of the strategies that works pretty well for me. My strategy for this account was a little bit different. As you know, the markets were pretty down the past couple months.
Yeah.
So I kind of did the opposite actually with this one. I found the breakouts and then I shorted them. That was particularly my strategy with this one. I noticed that a lot of the gainers just weren't holding. So I kind of waited for them to spike up. And then once they had a big, I would call it a breakdown, I would enter the trade and I'd short it. I then usually look for consolidation, usually like a nice sideways consolidation. And I look for another either break up or break down to take the next trade and add to it.
Right. So that's interesting. For the times, let's talk a little bit about those kind of elements. When the market is going up, like a bullish market, right? You would usually look for the break up, right? And
yes.
Mostly in penny stocks?
Yeah, mostly. Definitely, penny stocks, I guess anything $10 and below. And then even the actual penny stocks, $1 or below too.
Right.
I'm trying to move away from the actual penny stocks and trying to go back above at least $1.
All caps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's talk a little bit about the way you scan the potential stocks, right? Because you have those gainers, top like 10, 20, whatever. And from that moment, you need to scan them or analyze them in order to find those 2 or 3 that you're watching.
Okay. That's right. So
what will be the difference between the first one that you will say, this is the one for me, comparing to the fifth or the sixth that you would say that's okay, but I don't know?
Volume is a big one. You really want to make sure there's a really, really good volume on it. And then it's keeping it simple, which to me is I want to see really healthy candles. I don't like trading stocks that have really crazy long wicks in either direction. I don't really care if it's a green candle or a red candle. I want to see a solid body. So I'm looking for stocks that really look healthy in either direction. That they have volume and they're looking good, whether it's up or down. They're strong in either direction. It's I don't like trading what I call choppy stocks. You can see some gainer. You can see stocks that really can have huge breakouts and make a lot of percentage gains, but they don't look healthy. They have really tall wicks. They can be very spiky. And I think trading stocks like that can be very, very risky, whether you're shorting or going long.
Okay, I see. So mostly, like you said, volume, and you wait in the first hour, you basically just sit on the fence? You're not trading?
No, I would say I have entered within opening. I try to get most of my trades done earlier on in the morning.
Within the first hour.
Yes, yes.
Gotcha.
That's not to say I don't watch it all day still, and I will take trades that last hour and even after hours too.
Got it. Let's look at your chart and some of the stats that you had here. And again, you said it's the second attempt. And maybe for those of you listening right now, in most cases, give yourself that buffer that you will have those 2, 3, even 5 attempts to pass the evaluation. Yesterday, I spoke with Andrew, one of our newest funded trader, and he actually had 7 or 8 attempts before he passed the evaluation. It's still obviously amazing to do so, because the same amount of money that you will spend on 7 evaluations will give you so much buying power in the real funded account comparing to take the same money and put it in your broker account. Let's say you paid like $1,000, you wouldn't do anything with $1,000, with a broker, obviously. So that's the case. All right, so let's look a little bit about your stats here. First of all, like I said, you traded the mini BP, $20,000. That's $300 per day, or risk per day, or daily allowance. And interesting to see, you did pass the rule, the 30% rule. We have a 30% rule that your best trade cannot be more than 30% out of that profit. And you did kind of bypass it, I guess, or cross that. But as we always do, we go through the accounts. Obviously, the risk department will go through the trades, analyze them, and see if we can understand what you're doing, or try to understand basically if you are, as we at least said it, as a good trader, right? And sometimes you might cross that tiny rule, but as long as we say that you're doing well and know what you're doing, basically, so we can we can allow, I guess. I don't know if I should say it. But
it makes sense what I'm doing, so you're like, okay.
Yeah. So let's look at some of the trades. Again, you're trading mostly like small caps.
Yeah, mostly on this one, yeah.
Percentage-wise, almost 55%. Nice ratio. Risk-reward is good. And let's talk a little bit about that area here, because you had some nice pullback to support levels, right? Resistance became support, just a classic, like in any kind of chart. And then you had a big jump, right?
Yeah.
What happened here? What was the what do you recall from that time, like 2 or 3 days?
I remember, I'm trying to recall, it's been a few weeks now. A couple of those I went long. That was the problem. I should have shorted, and I tried to go long. And then a couple of them, I think they were the right stock. I think overall they would have been profitable, but I got stopped out. I think my entry was a little bit too aggressive. And I think there were some fluctuations going in the opposite direction. So I think I got stopped out on those. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's the 30% rule, I believe, stopped me out on those.
And for the, I see that you also held overnight. This is something that you usually do, like get into a day trade position and keep going with it?
Not often. I think on that one, I just wanted, it was a more, I had a good feeling about it. I think I sold it the next day. It was just one overnight. I've held a couple into the after hours though. So I've held them, and then sold, like, I think within the first hour or two of the after hours.
Nice. So again, guys that not familiar with, you can basically trade pre-market, aftermarket, and of course hold your position overnight as well. You have 45 days at least. Right now, you have 45 days to pass the evaluation. Alrighty, we talked a little bit about your trading. Let's talk a little bit about TTP as well. How did you came across TTP?
Actually, I think it was in a podcast, I believe. Someone had mentioned it. I think it was Chat with Traders. Yeah. I think I think they brought it up actually. I was just listening to it. Like I said, I've been trading, and I do trade, my own accounts on the side too.
Okay.
And I heard about it, and I thought that might be fun to experiment with, give it a shot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends and family who know that I do this. And they always ask me like, oh, how can I get into it? Or they always ask the one with, I'm sure you've heard, is like, oh, if I give you some money, can you do this? I'm kind of like, It's probably better if you maybe try it yourself. So it's like, so I heard about this and I thought, well, let me give it a shot. And maybe this, if this works out and it's just like legit, maybe this is something I can recommend to more people.
Nice.
So that was kind of how I got into it.
And how was your, the overall experience?
I would say it's pretty good. Yeah, I would say it's pretty good. Like I said, it took me at least one account that I blew up just to get used to the platform, which I said I would really recommend and people get used to, and just be like, the platform is something you have to really get used to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different than some others, and you have to get used to trading with those stops and understanding your entries. But I think it's a really good. It teaches you a lot. It teaches you really good risk management, and I think it's actually good to teaching you how to add to positions too, because you can start small and then continually add with it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say you did it twice. What would you say to someone that, just watching this video and say, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot? What will be the best tip that you can give him in order to pass the evaluation?
I would say the best tip would be practice. Don't be afraid to blow up the one account, but then once you're really into it, just don't take small positions. It's okay to make small gains and then add to those gains. That's kind of how I did it. Start small. You don't have to go big all at once. Take smaller position sizes, and then once those are starting to go and become a little bit profitable, and you think your stock is trending in the right direction, just add to it. And then once you're profitable, don't be afraid to take your profits either. You can trade multiple times, so just take your profits and then move on. Yeah, also, don't get obsessed with trying to trade every day. I know there is something in the platform where you get a pump for being profitable every 5 days, which is quite nice, but don't be obsessed with trying to get green every single day. It's okay to have to not even trade that day if the stock doesn't look good.
Yeah, makes sense. Also, you had a great advice here, because some of the traders will definitely, will get maybe the ultimate buying power, which is $260,000. And then they will go big and try to win it all, right? Will enter a trade with 50,000 shares, 100,000 shares, especially on those small caps. And in most cases, when you do that, you basically, you cannot control the risk management properly. So
yeah,
definitely start small, build the position will be best way for evaluation, and also on the real account, the funded account, also on the private account if you trading, like you said, the retail account as well. Yeah. Alrighty then, sounds great. Best of luck. Hopefully the first check will be arrive very soon. And yeah, good luck.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.